Hello and welcome to a book haul. I have an entire box of books to show you, and some of them I'm keeping and some of them I am selling. I'm actually going to show you what I'm keeping first, and then I will show you what I am going to hopefully find a new home for. I know some of you will be a little sad that I'm not selling some of these, but that is because you guys know how rare they are to find and how much in the zeitgeist they are currently, especially with his passing. I have 3 Barry Malzbergs here that I am keeping. These were actually given to me. I do have other selling friends, and she was at, I think, an estate sale, and she was like, hey, there's this stack of what I think are science fiction books that you would like. Would you want any of them? And she sent me a picture, and I didn't respond to that picture until like 6 hours later. And I was like, I really hope you got those because yes, I am so excited. And she did, because she's amazing. But it is Harrabitt's World. I've actually had this before, but I sold it. So it's come to me again. So this time I'm keeping it, but this is the cool cover. So I'm really happy that this is going to now stay with me, at least until I read it. Tactics of Conquest. I was so surprised that this was one of the Malzbergs that she found. I know that this is one of Matt's, I think, favorite Malzbergs. So this was really cool. Has a nice like teal blue text block in really good shape. And then the third one is On an Alien Planet by Malzberg. Again, these are all books without barcodes, so they're all pre-1978. Super awesome. Also from that same pile was this Keith Lamar, Assignment in Nowhere. I read the back of this and decided that I did want to keep it before it moved on to a new home. And then this one I'm keeping until I read it. This is Get Out of My Sky. This is a short story collection. It has 3 short stories in it. One of them is by James Blish. Then it's got Paul Anderson and Thomas Scotia. But I am almost done with Esper, which is my first James Blish, and I've really enjoyed that so far. Spoiler alert. So I kind of want to read more from him. So there is that. I also have 2 hardcovers that I'm keeping. This first one is Yearwood by Paul Hazel. I did find this at the bins. And the premise for this book, it's a fantasy book. You guys know I love fantasy, and this was compared to the Riddlemaster of Heed trilogy by Patricia McKillop, which I loved as a child because I found the Riddlemaster of Heed, the first book, at a thrift store when I was like a preteen. Shortly after I discovered Her Majesty Wizard. Like that started me on the whole fantasy thing, and that was one of the first books I found after I discovered fantasy as a genre. And so you're comparing it to the Riddlemaster of Heed. I need to figure this out. I need to see how good this is actually going to be. And then the other one is The Best of C.L. Moore. So I do have The Black God's Kiss, which is the collection of short stories of Jarell of Jory, which is considered the first major female protagonist in fantasy. Of course, written by C.L. Moore. And this is The Best of C.L. Moore. Now, this does have that short story in it, Black God's Kiss, which is one of the Jarell of Jory. I think there are like 5 or 6 short stories or serial stories of her adventures. But I'm really excited to read more from her. I still haven't read the Jarell of Jory stories, but that is a great segue. You know, I know most people try to save the best for last, but I'm not good at doing that. I'm one of those people where I have a hard time if I get a gift for somebody that I think they're really gonna like for an event like a holiday or a birthday. I have a hard time not giving it to them early because I want you to have it now. So I'm not gonna make you guys wait. I did end up scoring some of the brand new SF Masterworks from Glance. Speaking of Jarell of Jory, that is one of the ones I grabbed. I did end up getting 2 of these. One of them I am going to sell, and all the books that I'm about ready to show you are going to be available for sale on Whatnot. It's going to be on Sunday in the early afternoon. I haven't decided when, but I did want to make it a little bit later because I wanted my West Coast friends to have an opportunity. And I will be listing all these books from before this video is posted until probably that show starts. So hopefully things that you want will be available for pre-bid, but if not, no worries. Whatnot is a live auction selling platform. I'll have a link in the description down below. If you've not used it before, you'll get a $15 credit to buy books. Doesn't cover shipping, but it does cover the books, so you could get some really good books for kind of free. And if you are a pro of Whatnot, because you've been a part of this channel for a while, that a direct link to the show will be in a pinned comment down below. So that way you can just skip everything else and go right to, maybe buying some books. And it is one of the best ways to support me, because this is how I pay my bills, is buying and selling books and clothes. So back to Drell of Jory. So I bought 2 of these, one to sell and then one to keep, because I actually want to sell the copy of Black God's Kiss that I currently own, just because this one is worth like, $15 US. The copy that I have is a limited edition print from a small publishing company, and that one is like a $60 book. So I want to read that copy and then keep this one, if that makes sense. Sell the more expensive one, keep the one that's pretty on the shelves, that matches all my other books. I feel like some of you get me. The other ones are, of course, Strugatsky Brother books. I have The Snail on the Slope. Monday starts on Saturday. And then The Inhabited Islands. So I actually own all 3 of these also as well, but that was from a previous purchase where I scored like way more than just a handful, but this was kind of all that's left. So excited about being able to offer those again. And don't worry, I didn't, keep all the good books. I kind of did, but not completely. So I do have a 70s copy of Foundation by Isaac Asimov. This is, of course, the first one in the Foundation trilogy. It is the cool one with the red text block and the no barcode on the back. I also have a vintage copy of Dying Inside by Robert Silverberg. Of course, not the best cover, but a cover. Another one without a barcode. This is a Del Rey. A vintage copy of Neuromancer by William Gibson. This is probably one of my favorite science fiction books. Definitely one of the reasons why I started doing the Nebula Award Challenge, why I started reading Nebula Award winners, is because this book was so awesome, is so awesome. A nice 80s copy there. Also have a Yellow Daw. This is Well of Sean by C.J. Cherry. I don't find these in the wild very often, so this was awesome to score. Of course, all the Daws that didn't sell from my last haul will also be in this show, so if you thought you missed out, they might still be available for you to purchase if you are interested. I have The Stand by Stephen King. This is one of the 90s Y2K, because it's got this color block spine here, but this is The Stand. Does have a tear up here that's been taped, but this is kind of, I guess, the book that started it all for him, so there is that. We have The Black Cloud by Fred Hoyle. Now this is a 1959 first print from Signet. Has a lot of fading. I'm sure this was a bright, vibrant blue at some point. Little bit of liquid damage, it looks like there. It does have a second-hand book stamp from Georgia, but 1959, still completely readable, and it is a first print from the 50s, so that's kind of awesome. I didn't realize that when I originally picked it up, but that just makes it even better. This is Hell's Pavement by Damon Knight. Now, I pretty much think that this is a much better graphic than any of the Ringworld graphics I've seen for Larry Niven's book. I like this better. They need to do this for Ringworld. I know that's not technically what it is. Like, that spins around, and I'm sure this is twisted, so it's not quite, but this looks cooler. This is visually more appealing to me than any of the covers I've seen for Ringworld. But another one without a barcode. This is a Fawcett. Also has a bookstore stamp in it. A couple of them, actually. This is from 1971. We have Super Science Stories. Original title was Teenage Super Science Stories. This is a Lantern Press book, which was a subsidiary of Pocket, if you didn't know, but now you do. These are all by Richard Ellum. This is from 1967. I'm going to show you like all the cool old books first. So again, not making you wait till the end. This is New Worlds 10. This is a Corgi print. Now Corgi is a UK, I think UK or Australian publication. Definitely feels a lot different. I've noticed that Corgi publications are a little floppier. Yep, this is Great Britain. Published in 1976. So this has stories from Michael Moorcock, Bruce McAllister, William Neighbors, Michael Butterworth, Barrington Bailey, Chris Young, Adrian Eckersley, Geoff Ryman, William Watkins, Robert Calvert, Robert Medley, Anna Ostrowski, Peter Jobbing, Nicholas Emmett, Keith Roberts, Dish, Thomas Dish, John Clute, and Robert Meadley. Interesting. So there is that. Kind of an interesting cover there. All right, now we got kind of some newer books. We have 2 Orson Scott Card books, The Shadow of the Hegemon and Children of the Mine. Of course, both of these are in the Enders world. Can't go without an Orson Scott Card there. Might as well show you this one too. I also have a trade paperback of Ender's Game as well. Definitely a better modern cover. We have a Terry Goodkin. This is one of the older Sword of Truth novels. These are all thick boys. They're always all thick boys. This is a first print from 1998. I have a bunch of movie and show paperbacks as well. This one made my heart super happy. It is Titan AE. Planet Bob, as you know, Heroin Bob, Bob's books, Planet Bob. I have a warm place in my heart for Titan AE, very much so. I saw when it came out in theaters. This is by Kevin J. Anderson and Rebecca Moesta. So I'm sure this is like YA middle school age level reading, but I just couldn't let that go. This is Close Encounters of the Third Kind. This is probably the best condition one of these I've ever found. I've bought and sold this multiple times. This is definitely in better condition than I found it normally. It does have a split back here, but it's slight. But it does have this, which I think this is the first one I found that has this. So there's that. As per usual, I have a bunch of books for you guys. So Running with the Demon. Speaking of Running with the Demon, we're going to take a moment and I'm going to show you the boys' demon. Because Moxie's not here since I'm not at my house. This is the boy's demon. Her name is Switch. She is pure evil. There you go. She caused me to have a massive allergic reaction yesterday and into today because I had to take a bunny wabbit away from her that she found that she hadn't mauled yet. So that bunny is now safe and somewhere about a block down the street. And hopefully will stay that way. But she is a little terror. So more Terry Brooks with Song of Shannara. Genesis of Shannara. The Elfstones of Shannara. First King of Shannara. We're getting into the twilight now, so the boogies are coming out. And then then we have, did I get 2 of these? Wait, did I get 2 of these? I did get 2 of these. All right, and we got Running with the Demon, but in a different cover. That's cool. Didn't realize that. And then I got a Landover book. I don't find the Landover books very often. Got Witch's Brew. So that's pretty cool. So I'm gonna put some of these back in the box because I'm running out of space here on this table. All right, as I mentioned, I did get some movie books as well. So this is Independence Day. I will never not watch this movie if it comes on TV. Splinter of Mind's Eye by Alan Dean Foster. This is set in the Star Wars world. George Lucas' Star Wars from the Adventures of Luke Skywalker. So I'm guessing this is the novelization of this original movie, this first movie. Fourth movie, however you want to classify it. Star Wars Young Jedi Knights, Illusions of Grandeur. This is by Anderson and Moesta. I guess the same team that wrote the Titan AE book. The Empire Strikes Back. This is actually a journal in the making of the movie. So behind the scenes, talking about the major players, a little behind the scenes information there. So not a book, it's a book about making the movie, not a book or a novelization of the movie. If that makes sense. This is The Empire Strikes Back. The Marvel Comics version. So, yeah, and also this is probably one of the ones I've found that's in the best condition. The last one of these I found was tattery. This one is very nice. Although Han Solo does not really look like Han Solo. Then we have Jedi Masters Quiz Book, a bunch of quiz questions about Star Wars and The Empire Strikes Back, compiled by an 11-year-old. Very interesting. It's not going to be one of my hauls without some lackey, so I recently found the hardcovers of both of these books out in the wild, so my paperbacks are now going to get to move on to a new home. So this is Alta and Joust. So Joust is the first book in the quartet, and Alta is the second book in this quartet. Got some lackeys. Love my lackeys. So we're going to do Terry Brooks' The Black Unicorn. This is a Landover novel. I have the Galad Archives Book 1. So this is an omnibus of The Comet's Curse and the Web of Titan by Don Testa. I've not heard of this before, but there it is. And then Reboot by Amy Tintera. I thought about keeping this. This is technically YA, which is why I thought about keeping it. If it doesn't sell, I will probably keep this to read it, just because the premise sounds interesting. All right. We have a Stargate novel. This is a novelization of the Stargate movie with Kurt Russell. And James Spader, I always forget he's in this movie. The Stainless Steel Rat Wants You by Harry Harrison. One of the older copies, with just a cool space thing there. We have an authorized biography of Tolkien. I know that there are some Lord of the Rings fans out there that might find this interesting. Novelization of Raiders of the Lost Ark and The Last Crusade. Again, I found a lot of movie novels here. I got Millennium by John Varley. Again, with the rainbow. Every single one of these copies has a rainbow somewhere on them. We have a 1970s copy of The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. Of course, it has rivers in big Sharpie letters there at the top, but this is one of the cool covers. I have a Watermill classic, The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells. I have another movie one, but this one is The Omen by Brad Setzer. I know that this normally sells for like $10 on eBay, but you guys can have it if you want it. I'll try to give you guys first picks. But this is The Omen. I didn't realize until just a second that that's 666, but it's stylized, so I guess it doesn't kind of look like it, which is why it took me so long to realize that that's what that was. Hooray! And then Fahrenheit 451. This is actually the copy of this book that I took to the tattoo artist to do this tattoo. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see. Anyway, that's the fireman that's tattooed on my arm. This is also one of my favorite science fiction novels. I didn't realize that this was science fiction until I joined BookTube. I thought that this was just classic literature. I guess depending on what realm you're in, maybe that is still the case. But that is my copy. I do have a hardcover copy of Fahrenheit 451, so I am letting that one go because I have a propensity to prefer hardcovers. But if you would like the original copy that I took to my tattoo artist to get my tattoo, it will be up for sale. And if you have not read Fahrenheit 451, I highly recommend it. I will do eventually a review on this channel about it, like the books that I have tattooed on me and why I decided to have them on my body forever. That will, just, stick around. Maybe those videos will come out. But so anyway, if you're interested in any of the books that I have available for offer, they'll be available for sale on Whatnot. Again, just keep checking back. I will be slowly loading those into the show up until the show starts. So hopefully I'll see you there. And if not, I thank you for watching and I will see you in the next one. Until then, bye. Bye. Bro, fly faster.